Welcome, my friends. Seven Gray here. Thank you for joining me for today's episode. Today, I'm working on my sliding glass trailer. I'm going to link an episode above where several months ago we installed this sliding glass door, but there is a problem. Let's roll the intro and then I'll explain what's going on. And helping me today, I have Joe here who is camped nearby.
Hello.
I met Joe probably about a year ago camping, and we're camping near each other again. So I'm actually giving him a little bit of pizza money to help me out. So there's this starving young man. And Joe, how long have you been doing the full-time thing?
I have been full-time on the road now for, I think it's 8 months now. Yeah.
Okay. And he has a little bit of DIY experience in building. Tell me a little bit about what you've been doing.
So this past winter, winter in Arizona, we were building my rig from scratch. Me and a friend, I had bought a Class C 1975 Winnebago Mini Winnie, and it was totally just, it was pretty bad. It needed a full repair, and we needed to gut the inside and redo the whole thing. And so this past winter, that's what I was doing, is just kind of that whole rebuild in the rig. And now I have a home.
All right, so he has some building experience, a little bit of handyman stuff, but mostly I'm looking for his physical strength, grunt labor, and somebody that sort of knows what they're doing. So I think that checks all of those boxes. All right, here's my sliding glass door, and a wonderful install by a couple of friends who helped me out. I'm greatly appreciative for that, but there was a problem. When we close the door here, it doesn't quite line up. Here you can see it's barely touching at the bottom right there, but you can see there's a gap that develops as it gets closer to the top, to where at the top it's probably 1 inch, maybe a little bit more. So it's a little out of square. And before you start writing comments, I should mention that before we installed this, we checked my metal framing that I did and measured it corner to corner and used a metal carpenter's square, and it was square. So I had a square hole for this thing to go into, but when we installed it, I think the guys didn't check to make sure that it was itself square, just assumed that it was rigid. But this is made out of vinyl. This whole frame, the framing for the glass, everything. And that vinyl twists a little bit. So I think when it was installed, the vinyl twisted on it. So today we're going to pull it back out, try to get it square, and put the sliding glass door back in. So today's project, try to tackle all of that. All right, we have the sliding door part out. This part's the only part that removes. The other part is fixed in place. So one of the things I want to do is check and see if this is actually square, or if maybe when I bought it at a discount, this is not square and maybe this is the problem. So I want to double check that before we go start messing around with the frame. All right, that's pretty close, I think.
Yeah.
It's not perfect, but it's pretty close.
And then this side is good. So let's go.
I don't think that this is going to be the problem. I think the frame has to be the problem, which I'm not surprised by. But I just wanted to double check because I did buy this on discount at Home Depot. Yeah, that's really close. That's within probably 1/8 of an inch, 1/16 of an inch, much less than what we were seeing on the frame. So next we're going to be working on the frame and trying to square it up, and then reinsert this, and hopefully everything will be good. Previously, I tried to correct the problem, and I removed all the screws, and then I moved and shifted the top of this sliding glass door all the way to one side, and I did that while everything was still installed. That helped remove probably about a 1/2 inch of the gap, but still got a considerable amount. So today we're removing all the screws on the sides. You have to remove this plastic piece from the bottom that has a little rail on it, and then remove all the screws on the bottom. Then we're going to shift the bottom all the way to one side, and I have some shims somewhere, I'm not sure where those are at, that we can shim things up. Try to measure really carefully that everything is square before we reinstall the door here. So that's what we're working on right now. This is the little rail mechanism that's on the bottom that goes into the slot, and then the sliding door slides on this rail with some little wheels. So we had to pull this entire thing out. I didn't shoot any video of this last part because it took two of us to do it. I guess I could have set up the camera on the tripod, but anyway, I used a hammer and a small piece of 2x4 to bang on the bottom corner on the inside, and it shifted it about 2/3 of an inch to where it's lined up. And now I have Joe measuring this corner to corner with the tape measure to check to make sure it's square. We just barely measured it with the metal carpenter's square, and it looks right on. It looks like we've totally corrected the problem, but I just want to do triple, quadruple checks before we reinstall the sliding glass door. But crossing my fingers that we've solved this. Joe, how's it looking there?
It's looking pretty good. It looks like we're at 106.5 in both ways, so it should be square.
So the tape measure is showing it square, and the metal carpenter's square is showing it as square, correct?
Yes, that would be correct.
Okay, so this is on you if it's messed up.
Yes, I'll double check.
No, I'm just kidding, I'm not going to blame him if it's off. I think we're both doing our best to get this thing square. I was just joking there. We're going to do just a couple more double checks here, some measurements, then we'll reattach all of the screws, measure, check again after the screws are in that everything's square, and then last step, put the door back in, and hopefully everything is correct. All right, we have the slider back in. Everything is looking fabulous, like right on within maybe a 32nd of an inch. It's looking great. You can see Joe's sliding this shut right now, and it's a perfect fit. I had a foam strip of insulation there on the top that I was using to get a good seal, but we could probably remove that now. But anyway, it's a perfect fit, looks great, everything's square. I am as pleased as can be. Joe, you are an expert. Really appreciate all your expertise and help here.
All right.
After looking at this, I think it's absolutely perfect. Total success here on removing the sliding part of the sliding glass door and getting it reinstalled, everything centered. Thank you to Joe for all the help here. Thank you so much for watching. Savor the moment, and I'll see you in a future episode.